Hello, this is the Fixvirus show. We're going to discuss two cybersecurity items today. PCI Compliance overview and why should we become compliant? Anyway, what is the big deal about becoming compliant? And first we start out with the bells of Simona Petra. Almost there. Okay, very good. So, I want to go over my updated infographic, PCI Compliance. So there's 12 pieces to compliance. And these are actually headings in PCI Compliance. PCI stands for Payment Card Industry. And, the MasterCard, Visa, Discover, American Express, they came together as an industry in the early 2000s. And they said, hey, we need to help our vendors, our card processors, everybody, the merchants, everybody needs to have a good understanding of how to protect their data. So they created this compliance methodology. And right now we're at version 3.2.1. And there have been some updates, but not too bad. Too many differences this year versus last year. But anyway, we're not going to talk about the differences. We're talking about the basic compliance and whether you should be in compliance or not. So let's just talk a little bit more. So there's 12 subheadings. Why do I have the inventory of all systems in here? Because it doesn't have a subheading number. Well, it needs to be done. It's probably like the first thing you need to do. You need to know what you have. So you need to have a firewall. You need to maintain it. You need to change your default passwords. You need to have a password policy. You need to protect stored cardholder data. So if you're developing software that uses credit card data, then it will be a lot more difficult to actually be in PCI compliance. So number 3 will be much more difficult if you're developing software. But if you're not developing software, then 3 becomes easier. And there are a few other headings that are the same thing, like number 6. If you're not developing software, then number 6, which says develop and maintain secure applications, doesn't apply to you. So, protect against malware. Well, we all should protect ourselves against malware. Whether we're in PCI compliance or not, we should have antivirus software, anti-malware software. Should encrypt cardholder data. Well, cardholder data is encrypted if you're getting a card processing equipment from your bank. So it's encrypted. But again, if you're developing your own software, you have to make sure it's encrypted. So that's what the PCI compliance standard tells you. So the main thing is, it depends on your company, it depends on what you're using it for. But you can easily be in compliance and not have to do all of these things. So 7, 8, and 9 is also about authentication, restricting access, identify and access, authenticate access to system components. So these are all delineated for companies that are developing software. So if you're not developing software, you just have to make sure that the vendors that you use are doing these things. So you have to ask them, are you in PCI compliance? Can I get that in writing, please? And that's how you do that. Now, 10, 11, and 12, you should do no matter what as well. Track and monitor access to network systems. Well, you should track and monitor your systems. You should test your security. And then you should have a report, a quarterly report. Well, if you don't have very many credit card processing receipts and dollar amounts, then you don't need to, technically you don't have to do a quarterly test. You can do a yearly test. So, it's not as important to do quarterly tests, but you still should do a test. And of course, you should have a security policy. So now let's move on to kind of why you should have PCI compliance, because it's kind of intertwined, actually. So you should create a security policy anyway, so everybody knows where they're at in the company, where they stand, when they're learning something. Is this in PCI compliance? Is this secured? Is this valid within security? Should I bring my own computer? Should I plug it into the computer network? Should I run credit cards on my computer? Well, you might be able to plug it into the network, but if you plug your own computer into the network, then it better have some kind of security on it, because you might be infecting all their other machines. So those are the kind of questions. That's why you need a security policy. And really, PCI compliance could be your basic security policy. It's a beautiful thing. You could just use PCI compliance standard as your security policy. And again, number 6 you could remove if you're not developing. Number 4, that's done by the credit card machine. 3, 7, 8, and 9 become easier if there's no coding. Create your training processes. So I put this in my little blog post here. So really, you can create headings that become your security policy, and that's a very good reason for you being in PCI compliance. So again, thank you for watching. That's all I wanted to kind of state. Let me know if you have any questions, comment, like. Let me know if you like this kind of reduced format, where it's only 2 items and I'm trying to not go on and on about stuff. And if you like that or not, or let me, like and share this video. Tell somebody if they're asking about cybersecurity, tell them about this video. I mean, they should have PCI compliance. They should be in PCI compliance. Thank you very much. Here's a little bit more of the monastery. There we go. I wanted to hear that. Thank you. All right. We're all done. Thank you for watching. Till next time.